Howdy y'all, and welcome back to the channel. And welcome to the 2024 Greater Houston Train Show, a show put on by the wonderful people over at San Jacinto Model Railroad Club. The club features several club layouts of other clubs from around Houston, as well as, of course, plenty of vendors. Before we get started, I do want to say that you guys are awesome. I'm sorry that I haven't been posting as much as I probably should be, but life continues to get in the way. But hopefully this year, I have some plans, hopefully. We'll see what happens, but stay tuned. And let's go ahead and get on in to the 2024 Greater Houston Train Show. Starting off with Northwest Crossing, which has brought their in-scale layout, which was a very detailed in-scale layout. I really enjoyed getting to see this. They had a lot of really neat scenes, and it really amazed me, just the stuff that you can do with an in-scale layout.
Some of the ones that don't have very deep flanges, like these auto cars, don't have very deep flanges. You can't run a really long train in a tight curve because it'll pull cars off the track. So it's probably his wheels and not the layout.
The layout featured a variety of different scenes, and they had some amazing models running through them. The railroad featured a double-decker system where on the ground floor you had I believe it was a 3-track main line all the way around. And then there was an upper level kind of up to the back of the layout where you have a second single-track main line that is elevated above everything else. They also had this submarine scene, which was really cool. I haven't seen much like that. I was really interested to see that. You can see here the elevated back section of the layout in action. And they also had this really cool scene using model planes, a bunch of old warbirds, it looks like, and an old air hangar, including a DC-3 that was actually flying, which was really cool to see. It really amazes me the detail that you can get out of N-scale, and the versatility of the size allows you to be able to do that same level of detail on a very large railroad while still maintaining a really small footprint. It almost makes you want to switch to N-scale, doesn't it? Northwest Crossings layout was quite neat to see, but next we're going to move on to the Houston T-Trak layout, which we saw last year. There's been a couple of adjustments to the layout made, some different modules from last time, but of course we also have some of the same modules that we saw last time as well. There was also a couple of derailments and incidents on the layout, but of course, all in good fun. Hope the circus made it on time. The show, of course, must go on. They, of course, also had this castle from last year as well. A bit fantastical, but I do like the concept of it. It's really neat. They also had a Bigfoot and some dragons and dinosaurs. Very neat. And of course, you can't forget, this is Houston. We gotta have our Astros. I really like the design of the T-Trak layout. It is very cool, allowing you to very easily make a variety of different scenes while still working together with everyone else's modules. T-Trak is a form of modular layout building similar to that of Fremo. But here we have something very different. Still in scale, we have a Civil War era layout, which is really cool. I haven't seen anyone do much of this before, and the guy was talking about how a lot of their society has been doing some stuff with digital stuff lately. Exactly what he meant by that, I'm not entirely sure, because I at that point had to run off, but it was really cool to get to see a Civil War layout of this size.
Everything, and a lot of guys are just historians. Recently, we've been having all of these graphic modelers show up. Yeah, one guy's building one group. It's virtually a lot of virtual guys that are the best effort.
You know, went to church camp right down from the church.
Oh, okay. So where are you from? Oh, Houston. Okay. That's local for me. Yeah, right here. Hi, sure.
Last year we had this cute little Z-scale layout. There wasn't much to it. It was kind of 3 modules, 1 main module and 2 little reverse loops. But this year, as you can see, we can see that same building from the Z-scale layout that we saw before. Except this year, they have dramatically increased the size. They even included a high-rise, which I found really cool. It was amazing to see how large that building was in comparison to the tiny Z-scale trains. As well as the many other scenes that they now included on the layout, including a main street kind of a thing. It made for a really, really interesting layout, and I was excited to see the expansion. Z-Scale really does amaze me for its very, very small size, and yet you can still get a surprising amount of detail out of it. Of course, compared to N-Scale, it's still relatively simplified, but you have to remember, N-Scale looked like this at one point. And so with that, who knows what the future might hold for Z-Scale? Moving from small to big, we of course have the Houston area G-Gaugers, which have once again brought their couple of loops of track, and this year they were running a Union Pacific consist as their main, with the 4141 in the lead. They had many other cool trains, such as this trolley, as well as, well, a little wiener. Here's again the 4141 hauling its consist. I've got some G-Scale stuff. I don't use it very often. I kind of want to get into a little bit of it at some point if I could. It was important that my girlfriend noted that I make sure that I capture the Dr. Pepper train. Going from big to huge, we have Live Steam with the Houston area Live Steamers. Look at the size of that thing. I've always been fascinated by Live Steam. It's basically a real steam engine. Here's, of course, some of their actual quote-unquote layout. They have a whole park dedicated to large trains. And of course, don't forget the Lionel O-scale layout. We of course have a NASA train, which was really cool to see. I always love looking at the O-scale layouts. Not really my style, but I do really like the fact that there's always something cool to look at. There's always some motion. I wonder what kind of motion we might be able to add to our own smaller scale, more realistic layouts. Up next, we have something really fascinating.
There's no wires underneath there, right?
This is a box layout. It kind of folds up into a briefcase. It's based on a European style, which is really cool to see.
You could isolate it to one half of the loop, maybe pretty
All
easy.
the turnout controls
It's over
are in
there.
here. There's no turnout that I have seen in there. So this thing then drops down, and by removing the steeple, and then it folds over. Connectors go together nicely now, I mean that. Okay, so this comes down around. Fell off, and that's part of the panel. You know, simply it looks like it comes around and comes back up here.
Yeah, yes, but this one has to go somewhere. Either has to connect, either that, or it is just a storage. I can't believe he'd do that.
No, it doesn't make sense. If it comes down here, it's got to come back
Probably
around.
comes back and probably
ties in.
Ties in right in here before the curve.
But it's intriguing. I can't wait to get into it.
We, of course, next have the Southeast Texas Model Railroad Club, which their layout has seen, or other than some minor changes, it's pretty much the same as it was last year's. They've moved some bits around, but I like this layout. It has a very simple feel to it, at the same time as being quite detailed as well in its own unique way. I especially like the Shell Depot refinery thing. I'm not entirely sure what this is, as I'm not familiar. Industrial area. And I'd like to include some stuff like that on my own layout. That's something to think about for sure. They also had a couple of things with extra lights added to them, such as this fire department and, well, the fire truck and ambulance here. They also, don't remember whether or not this was part of their layout last year, but they had this little quarry section. Very cool, and something that I definitely will be taking inspiration from at some point. I do remember that they did have these on each corner, little gas depots, Shell depots for delivery of oil as well as the removal of oil. And it looks like this layout might have some operational potential as well, which is really cool to see. Moving on to the Houston S-Gaugers, we see their layout never disappoints. The level of detail on a lot of these, most of these models have been scratch-built, kit-bashed, and custom-built, and they all look absolutely incredible. Their layout hasn't changed very much, but their models are of the highest level of detail. Last time, I wasn't there in time to see them run their steam locomotive, but this year I got to see it. Man, seeing that level of detail running around the layout was quite incredible. They did an amazing job with that steam engine. S-scale is a very cool thing to be modeling in, but with the hand-laid track and all the scratch building, it's a little out of my comfort zone. But very cool to see. We of course move on to the vendors. We have all kinds of stuff being sold at the show, from magazines to, of course, plenty of trains. We even saw some Owen 30 this year, which was cool. There were, of course, several people selling HO scale trains, but I saw a lot of people selling Lionel O scale, several people selling American Flyer, and of course, plenty of N scale, including these really nice full train sets in N scale. Actually, I think I saw more N scale and Lionel or American Flyer than I did HO. It was kind of interesting to see that kind of dynamic. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at the Greater Houston Model Train Show this year for 2024. I will definitely be going back next year, and if I can get the footage off my camera, I did in fact not leave this empty-handed. So maybe stay tuned. I'm having some trouble with my SD cards, but if I can get that sorted out, we'll have some more things to see. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Later, everybody.